guest is a Grammy-winning and Tony-nominated actress you know from her work on shows like Fargo, Made for Love and the Resort, as well as movies such as The Wolf of Wall Street and Palm Springs. She stars in The Penguin, which airs Sunday nights on HBO and Max. Let's take a look.
Listen, I get that you're angry, but I was just doing my job. Looking out for you. That's what your father pays me for. And these reporters, they get in your head. You can't trust them, Sophia.
Shut up. If you were really looking out for me, you would have talked to me, not him. I trusted you. Congratulations. You got what you wanted. My father sees you now. You and everyone you love is on his radar.
Please welcome back to the show our friend Kristen Milioti, everybody.
Thank you for having me.
This is a fantastic show. You're
Thanks
wonderful
so much.
in it.
Thank you very, very much.
This is the Matt Reeves Batman universe.
That's
sort of Robert Pattinson Batman. That was Colin Farrell, for those who don't watch the show.
Yep.
And
Transformative.
he got some work done.
He got a little bit of work done. Yeah.
But it's lovely as we find out more about your character through this series.
Yeah.
It's a very fun backstory. I mean,
very fun backstory.
Fun to play.
Fun to play.
Not
I know,
fun to live.
not fun to live.
Yeah.
Not fun to live.
Your
yeah.
character spent some time in Arkham Asylum.
Yes, she did.
Anyone who is even a little familiar with the Batman universe knows that's not a great place to be.
I was going to say the opposite thing. I was like, knows how cool that is. But yeah.
I mean, I will say, like, one of the great things, Batman villains are the best
Yeah.
villains of any comic book character.
Any comic book character.
And one of the reasons is they're all just bad crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think I'm allowed to say this, but when I put the Arkham uniform on and I had like all the chains and everything.
Yeah,
you
this
have
is
a picture
we got
of
a
it.
picture of you
Yeah.
in your Arkham. Yeah, there you go.
I am going through a very intense thing in that picture, but I was very excited in
Yeah.
all the fittings. Like I couldn't believe that I got to put that on.
Were the costumers a little worried as they put the sort of neck thing around you? How you were like, oh,
That I was getting excited. Yeah. Yeah, that I was
You're like,
just
and like when this is
rocking.
over, do you like go, can I bring this off?
Where do you put these? Do these go to like a warehouse, or is it like purchasable, or is it's like a contract thing? Or
And
like,
if I purchase it, do I get a discount? Because we've already used it.
Because we already used it, and like, it did like touch my skin, and like, yeah, no, I didn't actually ask about the chains, and now that I'm thinking about it, I should have.
You also come by your love of Batman, honestly. I think the first time you were on the show, we were talking about Wolf of Wall Street, and I said, "Is it was it a big deal for you to like work with, Leonardo DiCaprio?"
Yeah.
And you basically said your crush around the age
I know.
well, tell everybody.
I know. Your producer reminded me of the sex stage, and I was like, really? I said that? and I said that, and I must have just been in a blackout, similar to now. But I, kind of like right now. But yeah, I really loved Jim Carrey's The Riddler.
Jim Carrey's The Riddler.
Yeah.
You saw him and we're like, ha-cha-cha.
You know what? I think I just really liked the work.
You like the work.
I liked the work.
Do you think as a young person watching stuff, do you think you were somebody who processed like, oh, that's good acting?
Yes.
Okay.
In fact, I was just talking about this with our showrunner, Lauren, who is so brilliant, is why the show is so great. And we were talking about how we would watch these movies growing up and we would always pretend to be the male characters.
Right.
And so like, I would be in my backyard pretending to be the Riddler or Two-Face or Joker or, I never wanted to be like,
right, like Vicky Vale.
Right, or
like, oh, I'm gonna be the one who's like,
right,
oh.
exactly. Or like even in Batman Forever, and obviously she's like one of our greats, but Nicole Kidman is a psychiatrist and she's like in lingerie half the time.
Yeah.
And just being like, nice nipples, Batman. And so I was like, going home and being like, nice nipples. No, I can't do it.
I don't feel like it feels authentic.
Yeah, it doesn't feel authentic to me. But yeah, putting on like a green unitard and being like, like felt a little better.
Yeah. This must have been exciting to find out you were going to enter the universe. I've heard you say, like, you were looking for your in. You were looking for your in.
I was really out there looking for my in.
So how did you find out? Was it so exciting?
It was so exciting, but I do a lot of like solo travel.
Okay.
I really like solo trips when I'm
Gotcha.
able to take them. I think they're a lot of fun and you like do some good thinking. And I'd planned this trip to go to Iceland to see the Northern Lights, and I'd planned it for months and months, and I was gonna like go there and think about some stuff. Don't worry about what stuff.
Yeah.
This came up, and they asked if I would screen test the night before I flew to be alone in a very isolating place.
Yeah.
And so this was like a lifelong dream to be a Batman villain. I go to this screen test. It's, I mean, you know, you've auditioned for things, right? No. Okay.
Yes.
You're offer only.
I haven't done the other part where they call and go, congratulations.
Okay. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
but you know it.
What's that like?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Oh, yeah. Good for you.
But like, you know, you leave, yeah. You know, you leave a screen test, you leave any of those things and you are so embarrassed. I've never left one and been like,
right, of course.
woo!
It's
like
so vulnerable.
It's so vulnerable, and all I can
It's
think about...
vulnerable enough when you get the part, but that moment...
That's
right.
a whole new hell that
Yeah.
then comes in, where you're like, now I have to do it, and they're gonna think I'm bad, and I'm gonna get fired, and
yes.
all these things. But I was like, oh my gosh, I've been dreaming of this, and I went and did this screen test with Colin, and I don't think I got it. I think I did like just all the things, but then I was like, flew immediately to be alone on a glacier.
Yeah.
And was like, in like crampons? That doesn't sound right.
It doesn't sound
crampons,
right, but
yeah.
it does sound familiar.
It sounds familiar. It sounds like I'm trying to say like Krampus, like a weird. Is there
Krampus.
like an evil
it's
Santa
what
Claus?
you wear. Yeah, Krampus is an evil Santa Claus, and crampons are what you wear when you kick him.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. So I was like in crampons. Still doesn't sound natural.
You don't have to keep saying it.
Okay. Yeah, but like on a glacier, just being like with a tour group and like they're alone, just being like with the little hammers, climbing it, being like, I think I just screwed up this like thing that I've wanted since I was little. And then the next day I was, this makes me sound cooler than, you've been to Iceland?
Yeah.
Did you ride the little horses?
Yeah.
So you know, it's pretty fun.
It's pretty cool.
But they're little.
They're very little.
They're really tiny.
And they kind of run crazy, right? They don't like bounce up and down.
Yeah, they run like you're like in a cartoon.
Yes.
With them.
You feel very steady.
You feel
and their
steady.
little legs are like.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Like they really like it's like Hanna-Barbara, like
Yeah.
like under you. Yeah.
And you can like drink a full coffee.
Full coffee. And I was like, and I had been just like a sleepless night all night being like, I think I just duffed the opportunity for this like childhood dream, but like, it's okay. Like, I'll be okay. And I had signed up for horseback riding and I was about to get on one of those like little bouncy horses and my phone lit up. And they were like, "You got it." And I got on one of those little cartoon horses, and I like galloped on this black sand beach and was like a kid I just was like, ah, like just the whole time, like so excited. The swans were flying by. It was beautiful.
That's great. The best about that is I feel like either whether you got it or you didn't, it was a very appropriate place to be. Like
It
I think
was.
also
Yes.
like super depressed on a black beach with swans.
In a cartoon horse would
On
have
a
been
cartoon would have been-
amazing.
right.
No, I felt very like taken care of regardless.
Yes.
And also you're in a place like that and you're like, what are we getting so upset about?
Exactly.
Like we're so tiny.
and then do you kind of like lay it on the tour group or you're like, just get Batman, everybody.
No, not at all. No, I was
These horses are crazy. Also crazy, Batman.
yeah. No, not at all. I just sat on the horse with like a giant grin being like, ee, like
Yeah.
over and over and over.
They are grin-inducing horses, so I'm
They're
sure nobody
grin-inducing
was
horses,
suspicious.
So no one was
Yeah.
suspicious. No, I didn't tell anyone. And I was in so many groups. And I never could figure out how to be like,
I don't know when is the appropriate time for
Yeah.
announcements.
And I hear you that the glaciers are melting, but
But some things are on their way up.
yeah, everything's coming up me.
Yeah.
I
I feel like we're focusing too much on the glaciers and not enough
not
about
enough
me.
on this crazy thing that happened.
Did you complete your vacation? And was it just
I
the
did.
best?
It was the best. I mean, you've been there. It's like really magical.
It's really
and
magical.
spooky and incredible. I saw the Northern Lights.
You
which
did
was
get them. We
Incredible.
got them
but-
very briefly.
Okay.
Yeah.
But here's the rub about this.
Okay.
I went to see so I stayed at one of those hotels where they call you and it happens.
We were at one of those
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
They like call. They're like ring ring, and you have this little phone next to your bed. I guess that's not abnormal, but
Yeah.
Now that I think about it,
Iceland's nuts, you guys.
Iceland's crazy. Yeah, their horses are cartoons, and they have phones next to their beds.
Also,
Yeah.
every hotel room door.
door. It's, yeah. And so they called and they were like, it's the Northern Lights, and everyone, it feels like a school, like
Yes.
everyone gets their snowsuits on. And
It's like
run
a
out.
fun fire
It's
alarm.
like a fun fire alarm.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, wow, the Northern Lights. And then I was like, I remembered they had this little, they had these 2 little like hot tubs. And I was like, I'm gonna get in that hot tub. Like I'm gonna run and go jump in there and watch them. And I like ran and jumped in there and I was like, this is crazy, life is crazy. And then in the one next to me, this 17-year-old, like a teen, got in and watched TikTok. Like while the Northern Lights swirled, like the one with the voice that's like you are going to the thing. Like what's that thing?
I don't know.
I think it's like you make a video of yourself being like, or whatever, and then the thing is like when you're in Iceland watching the Northern Lights, and then TikTok says like when you're in Iceland watching the Northern Lights, like that, and it was infuriating.
I feel like you're auditioning to be the TikTok voice. I'm calling you out. I feel like this is not. There's nothing you got here organically. Yeah.
You are gunning for more work. Yeah.
Well, you're on a hot streak. You're riding. Yeah, I'm riding that tiny horse to all my auditions now.
Yeah.
I'm so happy you're on the show. You're so
I'm so
wonderful,
happy to be
and
here.
thank you so much for being
Oh,
here.
yeah.
You guys.
Thank you.
Kristen Milioti, The Penguin, here Sunday nights on HBO, and Max will be right back.